Okay, right from where we left off in the last episode, we are sorting out air tanks,
Air tank
and
critical.
that sounds like a storm. So, yeah, that's not great. Now, obviously, I'm not one for staying indoors in a storm. The only problem is, at this moment at least, I'm kind of on a one-track mind with the solar panels, and I don't know, I didn't feel like going for a wander at this point in the dark, so kind of busy myself with things that don't. Well, this needed to be done. I'm pinching this APC for the solar panels. It just makes sense. I don't need to print another one. That one's doing not very much at the moment. So, but looking at the storm, didn't really feel like doing very much else. Can't get on the roof to finish the panels. It's like I was so close to enclosing them another day, and I would have had it done and there would be no damage to the panels. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. So anyway, I'm going to do a bit of tidying, I think, inside. So I'm going to kind of fast forward this because I don't think you want to sit here and watch me moving crates around and changing a few wires over. Like it's not the most compelling watching. You have to realize I'm also taking it considerably slower than I normally would because I know there's a storm on and I'm in no particular hurry, so it's like, what can I do? What can I do? I didn't really want to go out at this stage, but I eventually I get so bored that I do. Now I know that there's a problem there with the O2, but it's not killing me, so and we make the crates go into just a nice place. Like, we're gonna start getting on with oxygen production fairly soon, so I put that where it's gonna live. Now, at this stage, I am getting really, 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 really impatient, so I decide that actually, storm or no storm, I don't care, I'm going mining. Well, that's what I think until I get down the hill and then the storm stops. Okay, time to get back on with the project, I guess. Now I think to myself, we've just had a storm, we're gonna need to repair stuff. I have some tape, it's back in the airlock, so I'm not gonna bore you with every second of it. I'm just gonna speed up through it and grab the tape and back to the roof. So I'm hoping that once this is repaired, the power will start to flow and the panels will turn to the right direction. Repair this up. But that's not the right way. Something's not right here. There's the problem. Right, turn that on, and hey presto, the panels are, well, this panel is facing the right way. Both of them are. Now, obviously they both still need to be repaired, so we've got more duct tape here. Probably going to need more duct tape by the end of this. I think I took one panel. I did. There's one panel there in the inventory, so at least one panel didn't get smashed up, which is something. So I'm wanting to make another solar panel anyway, and checking here if I've got the ingredients for it. In this case, 3 is a magic number because we got space for 3 panels and 2 supporting panels in our little enclosure up there, so... It's good practice while you're waiting for something to print or something to heat up or cool down or work or do whatever it is you're waiting for it to do, to get on with something else nearby that you can do. That's why it's a good idea to enclose your base from storms as soon as you can, because you can be printing while the storm's going and planning for the future. And one thing I'd like in this is to have a notepad, like just a tablet where you can use your keyboard to type notes to yourself, rather than having to have like a notepad on the computer or something. I wonder if there's a mod for that. There's mods for lots of things. I don't even know. I don't think this game has mods. I don't believe it does. Oh, it does. Of course it does. It does. It has a food mod. So maybe there's a mod. I've never used mods on this game. So once upon a time, I was very adverse to using mods in any game, but then RimWorld taught me sometimes a game is not complete without mods. You just can't. You can't get a good experience sometimes, which is really frustrating. And then they charge you for DLC, and then they charge you for more DLC, and then they charge you for more DLC, which I have no problems with game producers making money. Like, everyone has to earn a living. What I have a problem with is game producers milking their customers and using ideas from mod creators to milk their customers and releasing games that are not fully ready to be released and milking their customers. Like, make it an early access title, yeah, sure. We know it's early access. Like this game, we know it's early access, we know what to expect, we know there's going to be updates, we know there's going to be things that are not quite right, and there's things that might be broken, but it's going to get fixed. And you know that, and yes, this game has released some DLC. I don't like game-changing, game-breaking things. This is actually, like, you get different races to play with, and you'd want to be really into the game before buying it. Like, you'd be certain that you like the game before going ahead and doing it. Like, it's not something that it's not going to change the basic dynamics of the game. Like, it doesn't change what it is to play Stationeers. It adds another level of complexity and ingenuity. Whereas, like RimWorld, I'm watching a playthrough from a guy at the moment who I can't. I don't think I can say the name in case there's young people watching, and it's not content fit for them. And he's got a really good playthrough going on at the moment. Now, I like the game. I like the concept of the game. It takes me about 30 mods to make the base game playable. They've released 2 DLCs at 15 euros each. The base game's 15 euros, and I hear they're going to release another DLC now, which would make, to keep up with the game, basically 60 euros, which AAA titles do come in at 60 euros, yes. This is not a AAA game. The fact I've got to install 30 mods in order to play the game definitely means it's not a AAA game. Now, I'm wondering what's wrong here. I made a mistake in the placement of the panel. The port's not the right way, and now I've taken that glass off, I realise that, so I'll fix that problem. But, you know, 60 euros for a game that... look, I wouldn't mind paying another 15 euros for all the DLC. That's still 30 euros, which is more than many indie games in the same category genre. Okay, so that panel's now up and running properly. So, yeah, I think Space Engineers, which is actually the game I was looking for when I found Stationeers, I wasn't looking for this game. I was looking for Space Engineers, and I'm so glad I found this game. I now have both titles, and I'm very happy with both titles. That has DLC, but it's all of it. Every last DLC is a cosmetic. Now, some of them add in really cool things like, I don't know, a searchlight, which isn't going to change the functionality of the game, but it's a cool thing to have, and if you can afford it, you'll buy it. Now I'm heading on to making equipment for the oxygen, which is the next big thing that we're worried about running out of. And so yeah, I like Space Engineers' financial model. They're still bringing out updates every now and then, but they're also bringing out this DLC, which is, you know, different skins, different ships, different things that don't give you an advantage over other players. Now, with RimWorld, the guy who I'm watching has got all of these access to all of these powers and parts of the game that I don't have access to because I either can't afford or I'm not willing to pay for the expansion. Now I'm not willing to pay. I can't afford it as well at the moment. At the moment I can't. Genuinely cannot. I'm in between jobs and yeah. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that there's now like two different class of player. You've got people, and I've got friends who've also only got the base game, and they're wondering, where's the multiplayer in this? It says multiplayer co-op on the store page. It doesn't have it. Why do I have to install a mod that doesn't work properly in order to get co-op? This was supposed to be co-op. So, like I say, you know, the Paradox Interactive also released Prison Architect, which is also a buggy mess. It's a buggy mess that was never really finished, in my opinion, and they're still releasing DLC for it, and they're still trying to milk people for it. Like, I like Paradox's games. I don't like Paradox's business model, which is a problem because I'm at odds with wanting to play the likes of City Skylines and not being able to afford €100 to get the full game, which is extortionate. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting now about the game industry and its faults and focus on... We are now making the oxygen and was it just the oxygen? Yes. Tank connector, so that we can hook up our oxygen tank to there as a storage for the oxygen in the intermediate. Now, this is a short-term setup because it's getting... Now I make a mistake here of building a volume pump. I should have made a pressure regulator. You'll see why very shortly, and I'm actually going to show you the difference between what I did and what I could have done wrong, and you'll see why I made that was a mistake. But I'll rectify it anyway. Almost thinking it probably would have been an easier time of things to go and do a bit more mining and get the advanced alloys sooner, but it is what it is. I say advanced alloys, I'm talking about the tier 2 stuff where you need 2 different ores combined in the furnace to make the alloy. Now, that's things like electrum and solder. Now, the advanced furnace, you need 3 different alloys to make really strong stuff, and it's what I'm aiming for. It's what gives you the best equipment and access to really advanced technology, but wanting to do it in a way that doesn't feel too rushed and is kind of complementary to the overall base, so I'm not tearing stuff down time and time again. Where I've got the furnace at the moment is probably not the best place because of where I want the atmospherics. Close to the greenhouse, I'm probably going to have to build a whole wing, especially for the furnace and for the atmospherics. Like, it's a lot of work, and again, where I've got the furnace now isn't the best place, but I needed a furnace up and running, so needs must as the devil drives, as the man said. Okay, so time to start putting in our oxygen production facility. Well, not production, but storage. So oxygen is produced by the ferns from CO2. It needs to be put into the air through, taken out of the air through filtration. So this is an atmospherics kit that we just printed, and we'll put in a filtration unit. Obviously take a quick drink because we're already here, and stop that annoying noise as soon as possible. It can be very annoying, that noise. So this is the filtered pipe. Now I want a T-junction here because we're going to put in a canister filler. But before we can do the canister filler, we're going to have to put in a pump. Oh, regulator. I'll show you what happens when you put in the wrong thing. Now we've got to throw down the O2 tank. This will act as storage as we're... Because the pipe will only hold... Well, the pipe will hold a lot. Really, it's like 80 or something megapascals, but the canisters only can hold a maximum of 10 megapascals at a time. And if you overfill them, then, well, again, I'll show you what happens when that happens. So this is the intake for the air filter that takes it in from the room, and this is the output. So the unfiltered air goes in or out of there. So we're going to need some passive vents for that, and well, the volume pump we don't need. It's surplus to requirements. Well, actually, we want to paint them canisters, but I don't want to paint them in here because spray paint actually releases fumes like it would in the real world. So we want to spray paint them outside. And we need active vents anyway, so time to cycle outside again. Now, leaving a printer on and forgetting it with lots of materials in there can be actually quite I wouldn't say dangerous thing, but you can end up with lots and lots and lots of something. Now, we always need more cables, so that's not a bad thing. And I'm realising I don't have the spray paint out here. It's all in the crates inside, isn't it? Now, white's for oxygen because, well, what's already in the suit is white for oxygen. So, no, don't spray the door. Close the door. Yeah, we don't particularly want to have multiple different tanks lying around because you're only going to get it wrong. One thing that any stationeer worth their salt will tell you is always color code everything. It just makes it easier. It's foolproofing it, and trust me, we can be a fool at times on an alien planet alone under pressure. There we go, straight from the Stationeers Regulation Handbook, which probably burst into flames a long time ago, but we have too many events, but we'll never have too many events. So. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you print extra of something, you can never have too many, and plus you can always trade away things that you don't really want. There we need the back pressure regulator, because that makes more sense than blowing up a canister. Traders are useful. Fiddly, it's not the easiest technique. We will get to traders eventually, but I'm not too fussed about them at the moment. Now with the solar panels, we should be having plenty of power that I can actually run. Look, all the batteries are full. Basically run the filtration unit and the rest of the base as things start getting more and more power hungry. So I want the pressure regulator facing upwards. I want to turn it to the maximum. Sorry, not the maximum. I want to stick it to the maximum of 9 megapascals, so that's 1,000 below what the tank can hold. I'm not too fussed about the few extra. Stick in the wires so that it's got power. Then with the passive vents on the pipe network, we get the inflow and the outflow connected up. With the spare vent, I'm going to throw it on the floor for now. Then we stick our canister filler. Well, we need a bit of pipe before we can do that, but I'll figure that out in a second. Now, unfortunately, it is going to be sticking itself outside of our clipping through the windows whip. Look, the game allows it. I'm not going to argue. Turn on the pressure regulator. You can see the amount of pressure in the tank slowly going down. That's good because it means the tank is filling the canister. And then that means we should be able to swap it out. Well, not yet. It's not got enough yet, but then we can start swapping out for our suit and we'll have plenty more storage. There's better canisters down the line with better alloys, so that's something to look forward to. But for now, at least we've got our water, our oxygen and our power all sorted. I'll leave that while I go off and do something else. So the reason I put on the regulator rather than the volume pump is because, as you'll see here, turning on a volume pump, there's no upper limit, and you can't really judge how much is in the pipe. Now, that looks like a megapascal, or 10 megapascals, right? Throw in the oxygen tank, bring it back out, and that's just a little bit more, and you can see that yellow bar going down, that's its health. Now, I'm thinking, it's fine, it's fine, it's going to come down under pressure, surely. And then I go, oh no it's not, oh no it's not, this isn't good, this isn't good. And so airtight critical. This is what happens when you overpressurize a canister. Yep. Anyway, so this is what we were doing outside while we were waiting for that canister to fill. Printing out another mining belt for another mining trip. We don't want to take the one we've already printed because it's got ices in it, and well, if we take them out of the mining belt, which must be insulated, I guess, it would all melt. So anyway, I will spare you the mining details. So you'll probably notice the first thing, as always, when we come back from a mining trip, there's an alarm. Because, of course, there is. It looks like it's gone through the night, this one. Unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way things go. So, keep our filing system going of having full stacks going to the locker on that's behind me right now, and the not so full stacks going into this one. It just, for me, it makes it easier to keep on top of everything. Now, I need to make a furnace room eventually, but we're not quite there yet. We're nearly ready to do some batch smelting, in fact. Now, I guess part of the beauty of going over things in post is that I can speed up parts that would be potentially boring. Now, obviously, if I was talking while I was playing, I'd be talking through my thought processes, but looking back on it now a few days later, I'm not quite sure exactly what was going through my head. I can guess. Now, here I'm slowing things down again because, well, accidentally I put the mining drill down in order to put the coal away. Now, I don't even know if I remember that or not, but in doing my filing and sorting, I sometimes mess things up. So, I'm going to slow things down again here to show that, well, we're looking for oxygen filters for inside, obviously. We're going to need some iron. We don't have any iron smelted, so we're going to go and pick up a chunk of iron over here, throw it into the arc furnace. Might as well turn that off because we don't really need it on. Save a bit of power. And in we go to get a drink. And stop that annoying noise. Now, in this bit here, I just do a bit of cleaning up of things that I'd left. So, things like this extra vent here and the wrong way around. Sort that out. It's all really slow, boring stuff, so this is just double speeded. Looking round, changing out. Air tank. Trying to keep the place a bit tidy as well. Okay, with that iron smelted, we can go ahead and make the filters. And speaking of filters, if you look at the suit there in the top left dish, there's 3 carbon monoxide filters. There's 2 of them are completely out, so should probably make some of them as well while we're here and swap them out, because otherwise we're only going to get a warning and have to do it again soon anyway. So while we're here, so the quirk with the suit is the furthest left most of the 3 is the one that gets used. So as the one on the furthest right there was at a lower percentage, it makes sense just to swap it out and put it as the first one and let that run out first. Otherwise, it just seems ridiculous. So we squeeze around the back here. This is only a temporary setup, by the way. We have to put in a proper get up for atmospherics eventually. HVAC as well, or not HVAC, but what's the word I'm looking for? Cooling and heating. It all goes into atmospherics, I guess, but as you can see here, the level of O2 in the room goes down and the level of O2 in the tank goes up. So that's now tipping along nicely. Now, there's a certain percentage in the air which, if you go below, it makes it so that you get low oxygen warnings. I believe it's something like 45%. So that's something that I need to think about automating. I'm not sure how that works. I need to do some research on that before I go doing it. But I know it can be done. I know it can be done. Really, this was just a hack to get things working. Like, we need to make a proper hydroponics room in there and atmospherics room elsewhere. So this is only a temporary hack.
Pressure critical. Oxygen critical.
Okay, so we're going to need some more pipes so we can hook up the ice machine to the pipe network we've already got there. And that will allow us to add oxygen into the room. Well, we can do that actually by holding the ice in our hands when it's above freezing, which may be an easier way of doing it, but then you gotta, well, you could also drop it on the floor and let it bounce around and sublime itself. But we don't want as you put even normal ice, like water ice in there, it also gives off nitrogen, so it's always a good idea to vent the machine. Like I say, you don't have to put in the oxygen, but I don't know if it makes it any warmer doing it that way. But it adds a lot more oxygen anyway, and cooling down this room can be very important, because all the machines and the plants all add to
Oxygen critical.
the heat. And yes, oxygen is critical. Yes, we agree. So that's time to turn that off.
Oxygen critical.
Probably add a bit more to the room because we're down below 45%. Yeah, as you can see here, as one is split into the hand, it just evaporates into the room and cools the room as well. So we're back to a decent level now, and we don't get the warning when we open the lid anymore. So we didn't actually need that hooked up, the ice machine hooked up, but it's good that it's done. It just means it won't overpressurize when we put ices in there. Now, we are going to have to remove the X and the N2 at some point. There's a lot of N2. I don't believe it's a huge problem. It's inert. Like oxygen, it doesn't... It helps combustion. And we can use it as a oxidizer for combustion. And it's more powerful than oxygen. This is part of the new update, which I really haven't played with yet. So this is all new to me. So with the oxygen sorted, it's just a case of very quickly swapping out the ice pack for the empty mining pack. Now I'm looking around thinking, what do I need next? Checking the machines for what ores I have. Sorry, I mean ingots. Okay, as the game progresses, you can never have too many lockers to organize stuff. This one is going to go right about here, and it's going to hold, well, for the time being, it's going to hold anything that we've got that we don't want to carry with us, but in the long run, it'll be for ingots and alloys and that kind of thing. But at the moment, like every locker ever in any game I've ever played, it becomes a multi-use until it becomes a single use. So, in doing a bit of research into the new mechanics of the game, I discovered that the furnace doesn't like being inside a vacuum anymore. It actually loses heat faster. So which doesn't make any sense because a vacuum doesn't transfer heat. I think they had it right at the beginning. They didn't need to change anything. But anyway, it is what it is. So now all of the stuff that we've been accumulating that we don't really need in the moment because we're going to do some smelting can go into our new locker. Temporarily, of course. Now I realise I've left the mining drill somewhere. And I wonder, did I leave it in a belt? No, I didn't leave it in the belt. Keep an eye on the wrench as well. We don't want to lose that next. It's so good looking back in hindsight and knowing, okay, that's the moment that I put that damn thing in the wrong place. What an idiot I was. So it's not there, it's not there, it's not in there. Look, there, right there. You're looking at it. Thank you. You found it. Good lad. Now, in the past there has been times when I've used that location for the tools. It's really close to the slots for the left and right hand. It just means less dragging the mouse around the screen, which is always a good thing. So, some people use it, some people don't. I haven't been using it up until this point. I don't know how much I'll use it from this point. But now I'm looking at the back of the furnace and I'm wondering now, did I actually do the research at this point, or was it after this point, thinking about it? But we'll find out. So here I'm planning to put a volume pump from the waste tank back into the furnace so that we can essentially have some control over the pressure. Now at the moment I know that the temperature in the tank is actually good enough to run solder through, so that's something I want to do. And I'm going to make some insulated pipes, I think, as well, because we're going to need them. And now begins the smelting phase of this playthrough, which, looking at the time, I might leave for another episode. So I'll just let these pipes be put in first, and then that might be a good place to leave it. Now, with the normal furnace, now that pipe's actually in the wrong place. Its depth perception was a little bit off there. Maybe he needs glasses. But yeah, with the normal furnace, you can actually input and output into the same pipe network, and it doesn't really make any difference. Like, you can use the input as an output, I believe, to an extent. There is some difference in gas pressure between the furnace and the pipe network, but it can be used in some capacity, and you'll see that in this playthrough, in the differences in the playthrough. You'll find more on the wiki if you're interested in playing the game and actually interested in numbers. Now, I'm going to have to turn that pump around because I don't think it's in the right place. Ah, yes. It's in the wrong place because of the cable, I remember. I remember now. Well, I'm slowly catching up to the amount I've recorded. I only have another 2 hours or so of footage to edit at this stage. Yeah, as I said, never again. From now on, I'm going to be doing pause recording, so
Hydration critical.
there'll be hopefully a lot less footage to wade through, because I'm not going to be recording the mining sessions anymore. And probably there'll be some of the sorting as well, maybe. I don't know. At least I'll be fast forwarding lots of stuff and then I'll be talking live as I'm playing, and that'll be edited in rather than talking over afterwards and having to try and remember what my state of thought was at the time. Oh, NOS is NOS, nitrous oxide, is the fuel, not N2 like I was saying. N2 is just nitrogen, so apologies for that. Someone might have been barking at me. I'm not going to go back and edit it out now, but right, I'm lining up the things I need. Yeah, needing to scooch around the back to access the volume pumps is kind of getting on my nerves with having such a tight space to try and get through, and it causing me problems. So it's time to remove these chutes and make it a bit more accessible. I feel like this takes me way longer than it should do, and in the end I don't know what the problem was. I don't think you can actually put an output straight to the furnace, but in the end I decide I'm going to leave the output of the furnace as the output anyway and be done with it. Then I realise that actually did I realise now? Come on, realise that you haven't put the input and output correctly. I do remember hearing a bit of a gust of wind and wondering if there's going to be a storm. And at this point I decide, well, actually it's maybe a good idea to make a weather station, so there I was checking the ingredients, and now I have to go and do my ritual of hydration. Okay, time to try and source everything for the weather station. It's just, I'd rather be prepared for when the storm comes than be left shocked again. Just in case I do happen to have things lying around on the floor, especially if I'm going to be smelting and there's going to be ores flying about, there's going to be ingots flying about. It takes a lot of work to get them. I'd rather that they weren't, like, flung off the top of the mountain, you know. Sometimes you just have to dig into your stash to be able to do what you're trying to do in the moment. I'm very thankful for that feature where you can just stop it and get some in the middle. And then I realise, oh, what a dimbo, that's not the right machine. much better. Yeah, looking for what I need, the arc welder. We don't have that stuff yet, so soon come, soon come. We are very close to doing the first smelting run, which is brilliant. Sorry, the first batch smelting of intermediate alloys. Yeah, where's a good place for this? Right there should probably do the trick. Now, you don't even have to plug this in. I don't know if you can hear the wind there in the background, making me nervous. You don't actually need to plug this in for it to be useful. Because it has a little spinny, windmilly kind of thing there, which you can see. Come on, get the right angle. Yeah, you can see it on the top there, top left. That starts spinning and it makes a noise when the storm's incoming. It doesn't tell you how long or anything. You can wire it up to give you an alarm when it's time to get inside, all that kind of lovely stuff. But we're just looking for a very basic visual indication that doesn't need any power right now. So, and trust me, that is not where it's going to live forever. It's temporary, as most things are at the moment around here. Okay, time to do some solder because it's a very low temperature kind of an alloy, and we've already got a decent temperature of gas in the tank, so this shouldn't be a problem. So that's using the T button to basically place it gently in rather than the Q button to throw. Now let's put a bit of heat and pressure in there. There we've got some lovely iron. Always a good idea. Now, we're trying to actually make it cooler in there.
Power low.
Okay, now is the time to do the alloy. Now, we can adjust the pressure if necessary. The temperature's down in the right place. More or less. Nope, we need to take some pressure out. Maybe a bit more. I'm surprised at how little the temperature changes at this point. But then it is a low temperature, so... Gonna try lowering the temperature using ice. Of course, the problem being it's above freezing outside, and yeah, the ice just melts, which is never good. Well, we have a little bit more lead, and I'm sure we got a bit more iron around somewhere, which we'll just have to steal some of the... We've got an ingot there, so we'll have to basically steal some of... We haven't got a splitter right now, or a stacker sorter. That's the one sorter. So we'll just have to split the difference off of this one, and then make up the difference when we come to put the ingot through next time. It'll make sense in the end. Unfortunately, we're kind of running out of things to throw in there that's not going to ruin the mix that we've already got, so... And it's not coming down in temperature very quickly on its own, which is a good thing, really. But we are close to sunset now, the temperature is dropping. So it might just be a case of having to wait until the temperature's cold enough to hold ice in our hands, unfortunately. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Okay, we're finally at the moment now where it's time to get this lead, solder. So I'll just get to this and then we'll call the episode there, because I don't want to run over the hour mark. Now, this is a really convoluted way of doing it. This is not the best design, but if you want a low-tech, quick way of getting to the next the next alloys, well, if you look at alloys, the stage after ingots, single ingots, then this is probably by far the easiest way to do it. So yeah, we will leave it there, and gonna drain this waste tank now and basically get ready for the next push of smelting, which will be next episode. Now obviously firing this out of there at a lower temperature than the tank is going to bring the temperature in the tank down. At this point I'm not that bothered, really. It is what it is. I'm just trying to save it and not waste them, you know, kilomoles of O2 and CO2 and NOS, etc. It just feels like a waste to let them all vent into the background of space, which is what I used to do with a furnace until I learned better. But it's something you can do that if you don't want to capture it in a tank and go through all that trouble. Of course, it takes steel, and you missed the fun I had with pipes ringing from having too much pressure in them. Yeah, we nearly burst some pipes putting in that tank. But unfortunately, we lost the footage. I lost the footage by not pressing record properly in between pauses, which was silly. But, well, these things happen. Right, I'm gonna come back on the next episode with putting the ices in to go. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.